What are your worst nightmare neighbor conflict stories? Back when I lived in an apartment complex in my mid-20s, I had what I thought was going to be one of those nightmare neighbor situations. It started innocently enough. Every evening right around 6 p.m., a deep, pounding bass line would start shaking through my walls. Not just the occasional loud song either. This was steady, almost metronome-like thumping, the kind that makes your chest vibrate. It reminded me of those rhythm arcade games where everything is synced to heavy drum beats. At first I brushed it off. Apartments aren't exactly known for silence. And maybe my upstairs neighbor just liked his music. But the thing was, it wasn't a one-off. Night after night, the bass started like clockwork and sometimes carried on until almost 11 p.m. It made it nearly impossible to relax in my own bedroom. I'd lie there staring at the ceiling, imagining my upstairs neighbor hosting some never-ending rave. One night, after weeks of this, I decided I'd had enough. I marched upstairs, found the apartment directly above mine, and knocked hard on the door. I could still feel the bass rattling through the floor beneath me, so I knew they were home, but nobody answered. I stood there for a minute, listening to the sound pounding away, feeling frustrated and stupid, then finally gave up and went back to my own apartment. About an hour later, I heard movement upstairs, chairs scraping, someone walking around. Perfect. I thought, this time, I'll catch them. I stepped outside into the hallway just as a guy was walking down the stairs from the floor above. He looked about my age, maybe late 20s, carrying groceries. Before I could even say anything, he stopped, looked at me and said, "Hey, can you maybe turn down the bass at night? It's shaking my whole apartment and keeping me awake." I just stared at him. "Wait, you think that's me?" He nodded. "It's literally right below my bedroom. Sounds like a subwoofer against the ceiling." I laughed out loud, partly from relief and partly from how absurd it was. "No way, man. I thought that was you. I've been listening to that every night in my bedroom and was about ready to lose my mind. I even knocked on your door earlier." He blinked, then laughed too. It was one of those moments where both of us realized how ridiculous the whole situation was, like the Spider-Man pointing meme come to life. Two guys convinced the other was waging sonic warfare, when really neither of us was to blame. So instead of arguing, we decided to figure it out. Together, we walked outside the building and followed the sound. It was quieter in the open air, but still distinct, those heavy rhythmic thuds echoing across the complex. We walked past my building, past his, and sure enough, the sound was coming from another building a couple doors down. We tracked it to the ground floor, one of the corner apartments. The closer we got, the clearer it became that this wasn't music blasting from speakers. It was live. Someone was drumming, hard. We knocked, and after a pause, a skinny guy in a tank top answered. Behind him, crammed awkwardly into the corner of a small room, was a full drum set. He had soundproofing foam on one wall, but clearly not enough. He looked a little embarrassed when he realized why we were there. "Sorry guys," he said. "I've been practicing every night after work. I didn't think it carried that far." The bass we'd been hearing wasn't music at all. It was the kick drum vibrating through the walls and floors. To us, it sounded like subwoofers. To him, it was just practice. We explained that the noise carried through multiple buildings and was especially brutal late at night. To his credit, he was really apologetic. He promised to cut his practice sessions off earlier in the evening. And true to his word, after that night, the drumming still happened, but stopped by around 8 p.m. Back in the hallway, I turned to my upstairs neighbor, his name was Chris, and we both just shook our heads at the absurdity of it all. We'd spent weeks silently blaming each other, working ourselves up, only to find out it wasn't either of us. After that, Chris and I actually became pretty good friends. Every time we heard the faint thump of drums in the distance, we'd look at each other and laugh, remembering how close we came to starting a pointless neighbor war. In the end, it wasn't a nightmare neighbor story at all, just a weird misunderstanding, some misplaced blame, and a drummer with more passion than soundproofing.